This all happened a bit of a long time ago, so please bear with me as this is a completely true story that I verified with my family over the holiday. Granted, it's something we'd all like to forget, but here it is all the same. I'm 19 now and in college, but I originally grew up in a small town in New England. The area is basically in the middle of a few game refuges, and is surrounded by farms, fields, forests, and mountains as far as the eye can see. It's beautiful in the fall, but can be annoyingly creepy at night. Honestly, there's a local legend about a Blair Witch cabin on the trail near my house that is legitimately a Pokestop, but I digress. This all may seem irrelevant, but what you need to understand is that crime wasn't something that normally happened. At all. There was the occasional car robbery, but they would usually just turn themselves in when they figured out that someone knew another person whose car it was that they had robbed, and they would get in more trouble with their mother than the authorities if they didn't turn themselves in. Yeah, it's that kind of town. We all felt safe, generally. My mom was always overly cautious, though. She'd always walk my brother, sister, and myself down to the end of the street while we waited for the bus to pick us up for school. We didn't mind too much, as we've always lived on a street that literally had no other kids. It was, and still is, all just older people. It was like having about 9 extra grandparents who would often give us sweets and other goodies. That being said, we didn't really play with any other kids on the regular. We normally just read books and entertained ourselves, so you can understand that we liked having our mother to talk to while we waited for the bus. If I got the year right, my brother was about 9 at the time, my sister 5, and myself 7, so we were young, but not incredibly so. Not to sound completely narcissistic, but we basically looked like the perfect set of children. My brother and I looked like twins, all smiles and both of our 2 front teeth missing, and my sister was the perfect picture of rosy cheeks and cherry sundresses. She would actually be stopped occasionally on vacation to take pictures with Japanese tourists who thought she was a little toddler model. One day, on our way out to the bus, we opened the side door of our house and saw a small pile of pennies on the doormat. We were thrilled as we thought the leprechaun had come back to give us more coins. A family friend had shared one of their family traditions with us just the previous week. If you leave a potato on your doorstep on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, then a leprechaun will leave you a stack of coins in exchange for his favorite meal. The whole idea of getting money, even a measly 27 cents, was exciting for us, and we were all happy to take the coins. Our mom didn't see a problem with it and assumed that our dad had left them there before he left for work that morning. No one really suspected anything at the time. For the next couple of weeks, the piles kept showing up on our doorstep and slowly began to trail down the driveway, stopping at the end for a few days, before trailing down the street to where our bus usually stops every morning. At this point, my parents began to freak out, and rightly so. After discovering that my dad hadn't left the pile of coins, they began to ask the sweet elderly neighbors whether or not they had left us the coins. Every single one said no. We stopped taking coins after that. The pile of coins at the end of the street grew and grew in size over the next few weeks. This had been going on for a month or so at this point. The coins were always there, and they were clearly meant for us, but no one was in sight. You're probably wondering why my parents didn't call the police at this point. Well, they didn't want to cause them any trouble. My mother's words, not my own. One day, however, they did end up having to call. We were all standing at the end of the road beside the ominous pile of coins when a gray sedan pulled up from behind the tree line and parked across the road from our street. We would have thought this was normal, as many people park there to take hikes, but the car didn't have any plates. The only way this vehicle could have been more nondescript would have been if it had been painted camouflage. The clincher for us was the red scarf we saw tied to the car's side mirror. It was the same one that we had tied on our mailbox to let the bus driver know if we were all sick and wouldn't be coming to school that day. It had been stolen months ago. An investigation took place and nothing really came of it. But once the police began monitoring the house, the coins stopped coming and the car never came back. If my mother wasn't as careful with us as she was, we would have been kidnapped faster than you could blink. After talking about it more, we came to the conclusion that he was probably after my baby sister, the one with the wide eyes and perfect apple plum cheeks. She's 16 now and can't remember any of this, but it's honestly terrifying to think about how she, my little sister, could have been gone forever. The part that scares me the most about this is that this guy wasn't your usual kidnapper. He was patient. He waited for months and months to try and get his hands on us. He watched our house, our family, for months trying to find an opportunity. He watched us walk to the end of the street every morning for the bus. He knew when we were sick, he saw us leave the potato on our doorstep for the leprechaun, and he knew how to reel us in. The asshole knew everything, and we'll never know how. Soon after, our dad thought it would be safer to have us trained in self-defense, and although it may sound like I'm making this up, my siblings and I now all have training in Shaolin Kempo, 2 of us sporting second-degree black belts. Basically, my tiny sister could throw a grown man over her shoulder at the age of 77, if you could believe it. I don't really want to know where this douchebag is, but don't let any kids fall for the coin trick like we almost did. So, creepy Leprechaun Impersonator, if you're out there, let's not meet again. For your own sake.